I want to start my presentation about my hometown, Osaka. And Sakai in Osaka Prefecture, that is famous for Kofun, ancient emperor's tomb. It's really gigantic. And also guns, swords from medieval time, like a 16th century, and also Sen no Rikyu. He was born in the city of Sakai in the 16th century, and he is the very famous tea master. Okay, but maybe some of you attended my presentation for the first time. So let me first introduce myself. My name is Noriko Nagura, and I'm a tour guide, a government licensed tour guide, English-speaking tour guide. And actually, I have many hobbies. For example, origami. Can you see the left bottom picture? That is the origami works of art that I created to decorate for example, chopsticks, and also it can be the envelope. Origami can be the envelope for the money. And another hobby is drawing pictures, and also cooking, baking, and rakugo performance. That is a Japanese classical comic storytelling from Edo period. Actually, from the early, that tradition started in the early 17th century. And the rakugo performance is still popular even today. And I tried my performance in rakugo performance in English. And I do my YouTube channel. Okay, and then first I want to confirm with you, where is Osaka and where is Sakai? On the left side, you can see the picture of the map of Japan, and as you can easily understand, Tokyo is at the center of the main island. Tokyo is the capital city, and Osaka is in the western side of the main island, Honshu. And the magnified map of Osaka Prefecture is on the right side. And you can see purple color area is the city of Sakai. I live in Osaka Prefecture as well, but I live close to the mountainside. But the city of Sakai, depicted in the color of purple on the right side picture, that one is, as you can see easily, is the port town, the city next to the sea. So it had been prosperous from ancient time. Because of the easy place, best place for the international trading. So city of Sakai is in the southern west of Osaka Prefecture, and the port city next to the sea, Osaka Bay. And the population size today is 820,000 people. And light purple, just above the dark purple color, is the city of Osaka. And city of Osaka, 2.7 million. And the total population of Japan is approximately 125 million people today. So it's not so big city today, but the city of Sakai has a lot of traditional culture and a long history. Okay, and let me show you the map of Osaka city center. Because it's metros and railways, both are very convenient, and it's not so expensive. It's really affordable, like €1, and you can go inside of the city center, like a €1, €2. That means 140 yen to 200 and less than 300 yen. That's $2 less than $3. And my house, number one, is on near the mount, somewhere in between mountainside and the city center. So it's not the seaside. But, Osaka Station here, as you can see in the yellow and yes, red circle, and an Osaka Castle, famous, one of the features of Osaka City Center sightseeing, and it's in the kind of inland. And Sakai, city of Sakai is, can you see, in the west, southwest of Osaka, and it's next to the sea. Okay, then let's take a look at the long history of Japan. And when was Sakai, the city, the most prosperous in the long history of Japan? And there were two times when Sakai city was very much prosperous. First, in Kofun period. Kofun means ancient tombs for the powerful people, like emperor and its family members and relatives. So mid 3rd century to 7th century, there was Kofun period. And the city of Sakai was very prosperous. And then the second time that the Sakai became very much prosperous was Civil War period from the mid 15th century up until the early 17th century. So I want to focus on these two periods. First, I want to talk about the Kofun, ancient emperor's tomb. From around 3rd to 7th century, many coffins, big tombs were constructed. Kofun period, famous for coffins, and that definition of coffin, ancient tomb for emperor and other politically powerful people. And you can see the pictures, 3 photos. Left one is the one taken from helicopter. And in the middle, you can see the photo. This is the photo I took myself from the road. And another one on the right side, you can see another photo. That's the photo I took from the city municipal government building. 21st floor of the tall building is the observatory floor. So everybody is allowed to go up there to the Sakai city building. But you can see far away, in the far away, you see coffins. So you cannot see cannot have the clear view of the keyhole shape. And right now, today, 49 coffins, some powerful people's tombs, coffins in Osaka Prefecture today, and they're registered as UNESCO World Cultural Heritage in 2019. And the biggest one among all those 49 coffins in Osaka Prefecture, the biggest one, that is actually the biggest throughout Japan. The biggest coffin is Daisen Coffin for Nintoku Emperor. Nintoku Emperor was the emperor who was at the top of the politics in Japan somewhere in the 5th century, sometime in 5th century. And that was built, it's really a gigantic size, the biggest, and 486 meter long, and the height is 35.8 meter high. And you can see the water surrounding it. It's a triple moat, because lots of luxurious items like jewelry or armor, lots of accessories, some burial items were buried together. It's really a kind of treasures So somebody wants to steal it. So in order to prevent from that kind of theft, 3-layer, triple layer moat with water in it surrounds the tomb. Okay, let's compare the Kofun, the biggest one, Daisen Kofun, with the pyramid in Egypt and King Emperor's tomb in China. You can see that the green color keyhole shape is the Daisen Kofun in Sakai City, Osaka Prefecture. And, the Egypt pyramid and China's tombs, ancient tomb, it's also big. But you can see the Kofun in Sakai is also as big as others. And purpose. The purpose of constructing Kofun is to show power. The bigger, the higher rank, to local Japanese citizens and also to the visitors who visited from abroad, especially at that time in the 5th century from China. Some high-ranking people from China visited Japan, and then when they arrived at the port city Sakai is a kind of gate town, the gateway to welcome the foreign visitors, high-ranking foreign visitors, especially from China in the 5th century. And people see, wow, that's gigantic construction. Maybe somebody, it's the construction for somebody who is powerful and in the highest rank. So that's the purpose of the construction of Kofun. And the manpower required is 2,000 people per day. In total, 6.8 million people in total for the construction. And the period for construction, 15 years and 8 months, it is said, it is estimated. So it's quite big construction. And there was no written document. There was no written documents from Kofun period, because in 538, in the 6th century, Buddhism came from China. That means that before the introduction of Buddhism, Japanese people, didn't have no need to have writing and reading, but just speaking and listening was okay for communication. So there was no written documents, classical documents from the 5th century. So all we can do is just imagine their lifestyles based on the coffins and also burial items. And there are mainly four types of, 4 shapes for coffin. The left one, you can see the keyhole shape. The keyhole shape is for the highest rank people. That means that the size of the keyhole shaped coffin is always big. And for example, some powerful politicians, some powerful people, but not biologically related to the imperial family. No, if somebody is still powerful, but not the relatives of the imperial family. And then those people's burials mounds were in the shape of sometimes round shape, you can see on the right side, or square shape, or like a scallop shell shape in the middle. But always gigantic tomb was built in the shape of keyhole. That means somebody who is related to the emperor's families or relatives of family, or emperor himself. So keyhole shape is always for the highest rank people, and all gigantic coffins are in this shape, keyhole shape. And the bigger, the higher rank, the more powerful. So let's take a look at the bird's eye view and how it was created. as you can see that lots of jewelries, some of them imported from China, and also some of them are gorgeous warriors armors, and sometimes swords and arrows. Many those really nice burial items. Lots of burial items are buried together when the emperor passed away. Okay, and then as you can see in the bird's eye view in this video, you can easily understand that it's really in the middle of the residential area. People spend their ordinary lives just next to the ancient tomb. Okay. Okay, let's move on to the Civil War period. That is from the 15th century and to the early 17th century. That was the second time that the Sakai became very much prosperous because of its manufacturing of guns and swords. Craftsmanship, the skills of the craftsman in Sakai city, very much nurtured and developed from Kofun period, because lots of decoration of the big tomb, like potteries that is to decorate the coffin, and also the burial items. All those things require the craftsmanship. And because of that, craftsmanship very much nurtured and developed in the city from ancient time, and also the gunsmith and swordsmith in Sakai were very skillful. And warlords, the high-ranking warlords, patronized those craftsmen in Sakai, ordered them to manufacture guns and swords. Especially the Nobunaga. He is one of the very famous warlords who lived in the 16th century. And Portuguese people happened to come to Japan in the southern island of Tanegashima in 1543. And they just happened to brought guns, and they introduced firearms to Japan in the mid-16th century. And Nobunaga at that time was in the top rank. He was in the highest rank of samurai warlords, and he was the very first person to introduce guns in the battlefield. And that was kind of game changer in the Civil War period. And Nobunaga ordered skillful men, craftsmen in Sakai to manufacture guns. And the guns performance created by Sakai people was really good. As you can see in the left side, the left bottom side, the craftsman making the guns, and the right side in this classical document on the tatami mat room, in the tatami mat room, somebody in kimono, the gentleman in kimono, checking the gun. So on the left side, craftsman manufacturing guns. Left side, and then right side in the tatami mat room, gentleman in kimono checking the quality of guns. That is one page from classical document. Knives, because a craftsman, especially forging the iron, those people still create not sword but knives. And the knives made in Sakai is excellent quality, and almost 90% of professional chefs in Japan. It is said that 90% of professional Japanese chefs in Japan use Sakai knives. It's really expensive. Please, if you have chance to visit Sakai city, and I can guide you around, I can take you to the traditional Sakai center, and the variety of many kinds of knives are sold and exhibited as well. And one knife, kitchen knife, is like 400 euro or 500 euro. It's very, very expensive. It's like 600 or 700 US dollars. So it's expensive, but it's really, really high quality. Famous for kitchen knife. today. Professional chefs use this Sakai knife. Forging and polishing, different person, two category to make one knife. So two roles, two people in two roles, and they put in the fire in the furnace and hit, make it thinner. And it's very different from machine-made knife. So he put in the fire like this. He has to care about the everyday temperature, room temperature, humidity. And quickly quenching, quickly put in the cold water. Hit. Temperature control is very important, he says. So what I'm making is different from machine-made knife. I want to create something excellent quality so that people feel like repeat using the Sakai knife again, he says. That's my mission, creating a special knife that people feel like buying, repeating it again. And once the knife is, the basic shape of the knife is created, and then the second person in the second category, second role is polishing the knife. He says, he always cared at how, he always cared. This person says that this is for chefs. So highest quality knife can be continuously used by chefs for 10 years, 20 years, if they properly take care of the knife, he says. So it can be used for 10 years, at least 10 years. And the handle to hold the knife is attached. Each craftsman, who specializes in forging, putting in the furnace, hitting that forging, and the second person specializes on polishing, and the third person putting the handle of the knife and finishing the knife. Each specialist in each category has the highest skill. Pâtissier of Japanese sweets, he says. Each season, different decoration. And at the tea ceremony, the tea is always served without sugar, but it's always bitter in the traditional Japanese tea ceremony. Always matcha powder is used in a very traditional tea ceremony. And in order to mitigate the bitterness of the tea, the authentic green tea, always sweet something, like sweets like this, that you can feel each season is served together with the bitter tea. Senoriki was born in 1522 in Sakai, And that's the reason why Sakai City people are very proud of, Japanese sweets. It always shows something seasonal. Was important. Another guy, Oda Nobunaga was famous for the first time ever in the battlefield. Nobunaga start introducing the guns in the battlefield. That was an important point about Oda Nobunaga. But after him, after Oda Nobunaga appeared, was Toyotomi Hideyoshi. He governed Japan in the late 16th century, and then he really loved party. He was a party person, and he patronized the Senno-rikyu. He was this guy, tea master, was born in city of Sakai, and tea master and born in Sakai, and he established this warlord loved party, especially tea, and Senno-rikyu was patronized by Hideyoshi, tea master, and then Senno-rikyu established all the etiquette and manners at the tea ceremony. And this is the picture of tea ceremony today. And then as you can see, many ladies in kimono attend tea ceremony. So our image, general image about tea ceremony nowadays is something that is, elegant ladies in kimono attend tea ceremony as their hobbies. And some gentlemen, yes, some gentlemen, but mostly ladies attend. That's our image. But back then, during Civil War period, it was the must item that samurai warriors have to learn all the etiquettes and manners at the tea ceremony, because sometimes they talked about political discussions at the tea ceremony. And also at the tea ceremony, not only tea and sweets, but also the course meal, kaiseki course meal, and even sake, Japanese alcohol, Japanese sake, Japanese rice wine, also served at the tea ceremony. So tea ceremony at Civil War period was very important. That was the opportunity to exchange political information among samurai warlords, not only socializing. So it's very important for the samurai warlords to learn all the etiquette and manners to attend the tea ceremony, because it's not hobby like today's hobby, but it was the political discussion opportunity, and also it was a dinner together, eating kaiseki meal served at tea ceremony. So the very official tea ceremony lasts for 3 to 4 hours back then at that time. And then even today, some people do the very official traditional tea ceremony that continues 3 hours. But people usually enjoy the shorter version of tea ceremony, only serving matcha tea, bitter tea, together with sweets. That is shorter version, less than 1 hour. Okay, so tea, you never put sugar in it. It's bitter and sweet, served together. And this teacup and also the sweets served at the tea ceremony is always something reminds people of particular season. Right now, the early autumn in Japan. So something that reminds people of season, like a shape of autumn leaf, like a maple leaf, is one typical shape that reminds people of autumn. Okay, and wake seijaku is very basic idea of tea ceremony. Wa means peaceful, kei respectful, sei clean or pure, and jaku silent, serene. So these wa, kei, sei, jaku are the very basic spirits of tea ceremony. And I already showed you the tea ceremony, and there are many traditional confectionery shops throughout Japan, not only in Sakai. Please remember, you can find a nice traditional Japanese sweets in Tokyo or Kyoto, Nara, Kanazawa, almost everywhere. And the first enjoy seeing it and then enjoy eating it. So Japanese tradition, especially for example, tea ceremony, you enjoy using all the five senses. You smell the nice smell of the matcha tea powder. You hear the sound of boiling water because host usually boil water in front of the guest in the tatami mat room and then pour the water into the cup. The sound of pouring water, hot water in the cup. Also, that's something you enjoy, the guest enjoy. Hearing, feeling the cup, the texture of the rough surface of the teacup, and also smelling and then eating the sweets and then drinking the, tasting the tea, and then enjoy seeing the flower arrangement or enjoying seeing the teacup design, everything using all five senses. That's the key point of tea ceremony. So you can find almost everywhere throughout Japan, especially main island, Honshu. You can find Japanese sweets like this. It's really, first enjoy seeing it and then you enjoy eating it. And especially Sakai is famous for Sen no Rikyu. Sen no Rikyu is the person who started the tea ceremony and then he established manners and etiquettes. All those basic manners for the tea ceremony was established first by Sen no Rikyu. And the Sen no Rikyu, that guy was born in Sakai in early 16th century. So that's why the Sakai city introduces through this, using this video to introduce the tradition of Japanese sweets, because the Japanese sweets, these sweets are very important in the traditional tea ceremony. It's served always together with a bitter tea. And this guy says that he is almost 65 years career of as a. Okay, thank you very much. And then I finish here.